So I work at Build-A-Bear, and I'm going to show you how to stitch a Build-A-Bear, how I was taught how to stitch one. Bears normally have manufacturing stitching that is already on it, so it's easier to stitch it, but some of them don't have it, and it's very hard to find the stitching to cut it open, so I have already found the manufacturing stitching. So what you do, cut it open, make sure it's open like this, and have a needle, thread. You take the thread and there's a little hole at the top of the needle that you stick it through. You pull it through, you take the other end of the thread and you pull it, and you make sure that the two ends are even. And then what you do is you take them and you tie them in a knot like that, and you have to make several knots for it to be thick enough for when you put it through the bear, it doesn't just slide right through. So you have to make a good, I try to do at least 4 or 5 knots just to be safe and to be sure that it's not going to go through. So once you have your knot at the end, you take the needle and cut off extra thread on him. So you take it, and on the inside there's this white part right here, this little flap. You don't want to stick it through there because it won't stay properly. It'll most likely bust. So what you do is you find the bare part, so this black right here, not on the white, on the black. You take it, you take the needle, you stick it through from the inside of the bear, so that way the knot and the remaining little part of the thread is on the inside of him, so that way he doesn't have that showing on his back. So pull on it a couple times to make sure that it's okay. Bring it down like that. And then what you do, go to the other side, stick it through, pull it really tight to make sure it'll stay, but you don't want to pull it too tight to where it looks all crumbled up. So you pull, you keep going from side to side, making sure that you are not hitting that white flap, and you can normally feel when you do because it's tougher to push through. So you keep pushing and going through on each side. And I just hit the flap, so I had to move and find a spot that was easier to go through on. And you want to keep going all the way down until you hit the tail of the bear, because that's normally where the hole ends. So you have him like this. You try to feel his back, try to make sure you didn't miss a spot, or just make sure that you got all the parts. Make sure he is stitched up very nicely. And I missed a little spot, so I have to go back and go through one more time, pulling it very tight. So once you do that, you take your scissors, you cut, not all the way down, because then you take these parts and you make a bunch of knots in him, so that way he will stay stitched. You keep going, 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 going. And then when you're done, you take it, you cut the strings to about the length of the fur. And that is how you stitch a Build-A-Bear.